There is a highly lucrative, entirely unspoken economy currently operating in the dark, unlit shadows of professional basketball. It is a ghost ledger, a silent river of capital flowing beneath the surface of the game you think you know. It has absolutely nothing to do with official team salaries printed on sterile, league-approved contracts. It has nothing to do with the heavily negotiated, publicly scrutinized collective bargaining agreements. This is something else entirely. It is a massive multi-million-dollar shadow economy fueled by the most potent, most volatile commodities on Earth: proximity, leverage, and global visibility. It is an economy directly, undeniably, and ruthlessly controlled by the unprecedented economic gravity of one single athlete. And just weeks ago, a veteran role player, a secondary piece on the corporate chessboard, successfully executed the absolute greatest, most audacious corporate heist in the entire documented history of the WNBA. She did not do it by aggressively storming the general manager's office, demanding maximum money and leveraging her on-court statistics. She did not do it by leading the entire league in scoring or securing a hollow MVP trophy. She did it by brilliantly, ruthlessly, and with surgical precision, weaponizing her direct, unmitigated association with the ultimate corporate asset. Welcome back to WNBA Pro. We do not deal in the manufactured front office narratives you are fed by the mainstream. We do not peddle the polite, sanitized PR spin designed to keep you a passive consumer. Here, we deal strictly, exclusively in the cold, unforgiving reality of corporate leverage and boardroom mathematics. I need you to completely lock the doors, silence your notifications, and sever your connection to the outside world right now. Give me your absolute, undivided clinical attention today, because we are about to aggressively expose the true blueprint, the raw, unfiltered source code for generating massive generational wealth in this new league paradigm. We are going to deeply dissect, molecule by molecule, exactly how a secondary role player transformed into a global marketing machine, seemingly overnight.
We already know how they give it up, okay? They ambushed and attacked Caitlin Clark. Sophie Cunningham stepped in, and that is part of the reason why we love her. And then it just so happens that at Connecticut, another dirty play happens from Bria Hartley, and it ends Sophie Cunningham.
The mainstream sports media, the broadcast partners, they want you to believe that professional basketball is just a passionate game. They want you to blindly consume the heavily sanitized, almost childish narrative of sisterhood, of unbreakable chemistry, of team unity above all else. But you are not a casual consumer. You are not part of the herd. You are a high-level corporate operator. You deeply, fundamentally understand that professional sports is a multi-billion-dollar cutthroat capitalist industry. Every single transaction on the court is a calculated business move designed to maximize return on investment. Every single endorsement deal is a heavily leveraged corporate acquisition. Every single locker room alliance is a highly strategic, deeply political maneuver. And right now, the Indiana Fever locker room is not just a room. It is the absolute most highly contested, most valuable piece of corporate real estate on the face of the earth. Let us calmly rewind the historical tape to deeply forensically understand how this specific financial empire was built. When Sophie Cunningham was aggressively traded to the Indiana Fever, she didn't see a new city or a new jersey. She saw a once-in-a-lifetime market inefficiency. She completely, instantly recognized the opportunity. She did not arrive in Indianapolis with the toxic career-killing delusion of becoming the primary offensive engine. She arrived with a highly calculated, ruthlessly efficient, multi-phase corporate business plan. She knew that every single camera, every network, every global sponsor, every eyeball on the planet would be permanently, irrevocably fixated on Indiana. She knew that Caitlin Clark brings an unprecedented, completely unguardable audience of millions upon millions. An audience that is not just a fan base, it is a demographic, a ravenous consumer market with limitless purchasing power. If you can actively, strategically align yourself with that specific global audience, your personal brand valuation does not just increase, it violently, exponentially explodes. But to secure that massive financial multiplier, to unlock that vault, you have to prove your absolute, uncompromising, almost fanatical loyalty to the franchise. More specifically, to the franchise's central asset. You have to actively, willingly step into the line of fire and physically shield the billion-dollar investment. This brings us directly to the brutal, highly physical, and deeply strategic reality of the Connecticut Sun matchup. The opposing team deployed an aggressively toxic, borderline dirty defensive strategy against the rookie CEO. This was not basketball. This was a corporate sabotage attempt. They were actively attempting to bully, to intimidate, and to physically break the primary economic engine of the entire league. When the cheap shots were delivered, a moment of profound silence fell. The entire global basketball world, every investor, every sponsor, every fan watched with bated breath to see the internal corporate response. Sophie Cunningham did not hesitate for a single microscopic Planck-time second. She openly, instantly, and violently initiated conflict to completely shield the billion-dollar investment from any further physical or psychological harm.
The fever ended, and with the WNBA reaching a new collective bargaining agreement in mid-March, Cunningham is in line for a massive pay raise when free agency begins next month. That's definitely something you got to pay attention to, because Sophie Cunningham is going to get a baggie.
Listen to the absolute, undeniable strategic brilliance of that specific physical retaliation. I need you to critically analyze that moment, not as a fan, but with the cold, detached precision of a marketing executive in the brutal, unforgiving world of professional sports. That physical defense is known in the old world as the enforcer tax, but in the modern, highly monetized, algorithmically driven attention economy, it was the ultimate viral marketing campaign. That single act of highly public, uncompromising loyalty did not just go viral, it completely shattered the social media algorithms. It broke the machine. Her personal follower count aggressively skyrocketed, achieving a vertical trajectory that marketing firms spend millions to replicate, instantly hitting the highly coveted 1 million follower mark. The global fan base didn't just approve, they immediately fiercely embraced her as the ultimate protector, the Praetorian Guard of their favorite asset. They actively rewarded her fierce physical loyalty with a tidal wave of massive, unprecedented digital engagement. And in the modern corporate boardroom, massive digital engagement is not a vanity metric, it is the absolute ultimate global currency. She completely secured the absolute, unconditional trust of the most powerful consumer demographic in professional sports. But this massive, sudden influx of digital leverage, this newfound corporate power, arrived at the exact mathematically perfect moment in her financial timeline. It was a cosmic alignment of opportunity and timing. Because her heavily suppressed, artificially cheap, criminally undervalued contract was rapidly approaching its expiration date, let us calmly, clinically analyze the brutal mathematics of Cunningham's previous financial situation. Last season, she was operating on a heavily restricted one-year veteran minimum contract, a contract designed to suppress labor value. The total guaranteed capital on that specific agreement was worth exactly $100,000. For a player actively physically protecting a certified billion-dollar asset on national television, that is not a bad deal. It is absolute, unmitigated corporate robbery. But the deeply entrenched, artificially suppressed financial landscape of the WNBA just violently exploded overnight. The newly signed collective bargaining agreement didn't just change the rules, it fundamentally destroyed the old, artificially suppressed salary cap. Listen to the sheer financial violence of that impending open market reality. Sophie Cunningham's previous $100,000 contract has officially, permanently, and irrevocably expired. She is now an unrestricted free agent in a market that is absolutely flush with an unprecedented infusion of venture capital. The WNBA salary cap just aggressively skyrocketed to a staggering $7 million. She is mathematically, justifiably, and powerfully positioned to demand a massive, highly leveraged, franchise-altering payday from the Indiana front office. She knows, and the front office knows she knows, exactly how much highly lucrative off-court value she brings to the overall franchise brand.
It is almost that time for March Madness. We are so excited to be teaming up with Marriott Bonvoy for Live from the Bracket. It is a 4-episode limited series edition of our podcast, Show Me Something.
It's going to be sick. We're going to talk to special guests about all things travel, all things basketball.
So we are here.
But Cunningham did not simply wait patiently by the phone for the Indiana general manager to slide a new standard contract offer across the table. That is the move of an employee. She is an owner. She actively bypassed the traditional archaic basketball hierarchy and went directly to the real seat of power, Wall Street. She heavily weaponized her newly acquired massive digital footprint to secure outside corporate funding on her own terms. She fundamentally understands a core principle of modern wealth. You do not need a massive WNBA salary if you possess your own portfolio of global corporate sponsors. This brings us directly to the massive paradigm-shifting announcement she just dropped on the entire industry like a financial shockwave. On the surface, it looks like a simple, harmless media appearance, a standard piece of content. But if you look closer, if you analyze the corporate architecture, it is the public execution of a multi-million-dollar corporate acquisition. I want you to critically analyze the sheer, unadulterated corporate magnitude of that specific partnership. She just announced a massive multi-episode podcast sponsorship with Marriott Bonvoy. Let me be clear, Marriott is not a local car dealership. It is a massive multinational hospitality conglomerate with a market capitalization in the tens of billions. They do not casually hand out endorsement deals. Every partnership is a calculated investment. This is not a simple podcast. It is a highly produced, heavily funded travel and basketball series titled Live from the Bracket. She is aggressively securing major corporate bags and actively walking into high-end Manhattan boardrooms, dictating terms. She is hosting highly visible brand activations in the absolute commercial and financial center of New York City. This is the exact type of premium blue-chip corporate alignment usually reserved exclusively, without exception, for MVP-caliber superstars. But Sophie Cunningham is absolutely not an MVP-caliber superstar on the actual basketball court, and that is the genius of her strategy. She is a highly efficient, high-energy role player who perfectly, coldly, and without ego, understands her exact place in the new economy. She successfully executed the Caitlin Clark proximity multiplier with absolute terrifying replicable perfection. She proved beyond any shadow of a doubt that you do not need to be the franchise player to secure franchise-level endorsement money. You simply need to unconditionally support the CEO, hit open three-pointers with lethal efficiency, and monetize the resulting fire hose of attention. She accepted her designated role, she played it flawlessly, and she is now actively cashing massive, life-altering corporate checks as a result. But this highly publicized, incredibly lucrative success story, this blueprint for wealth, creates a massive, terrifying existential problem for the front office. Because this specific financial blueprint is now completely exposed. It is open source, it is available to the entire global market. Every single impending free agent in the WNBA, every agent, every manager, is currently watching Sophie Cunningham's bank account explode with a mixture of awe and predatory envy. 80% of the entire league is about to hit unrestricted free agency under this new CBA framework, and they all desperately, ravenously want a piece of the massive, highly lucrative Indiana Fever economic pie. This creates a deeply toxic, incredibly dangerous corporate environment for the Indiana general manager. I need that terrifying corporate reality to deeply anchor your analytical processing right now. The sharks are in the water. Dozens of highly aggressive, self-interested professional athletes are actively plotting their path to Indianapolis. They are not studying game film of the Fever's transition offense. They are studying Cunningham's social media engagement metrics. They absolutely do not care about winning championships or executing the high-speed offense. They only care about one thing: securing their own personal iteration of the Caitlin Clark stimulus package. They desperately want the social media followers, the corporate sponsors,